Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem Synagogue here in Montgomery, Alabama. I am Rabbi Scott Kramer. Welcome to our service. And hold on one second. For some reason, captions come on. No idea why. Thank you all for being here. It's been an interesting week, but I always look forward to Shabbat, being here with y'all, and I look forward to Friday night, Saturday morning, and Havdalah tomorrow evening on Zoom. I'm glad you all decided to join us. We have a number of people here this evening. It's great. I'm going to do, because I feel like singing tonight, I'm going to do a Karl Bach Shabbat. And we are going to begin on page 11. Excuse me. That was wrong. Page 10. Already I made a mistake. Sorry about that. And we are praying out of Sidor Lev Shalem. Yedid nefesh avarachaman mishoch avdach al retzonach yarutz avdach kemo hayal yishtachave emul hadarach Yerav lo yedidutach minofetzuf vechol ta'am adorna weziva olam nafshi cholat avatach ana weilna Refanala biharodla noam zivach az titchazek vetitrape vehayetalach shivchat olam Vatik yehemu rachamacha v'chosna beno havak ki ze kama nichsof lirot b'tiveret uzach Anayli Mahmad Libi Chushana Vehiyati Talam Higalena Afros Chaviv Alai Etzukat Shelomach Tawir Eretz Mikvodach Nagila V'nismecha bach Ma'ahuv Kiva moed V'chaneini Ki me'olam Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Yalla la 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 Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Page 11, Psalm 95. לכו נרננה לאדוני, נריע לצור ישנו, נקדמה פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו. ארבעים שנה אקוט בדור, ואומר אמרתו אל לבבם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשבעתי ויפי, אם יבון אל מנוחתי. Page 13. השירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו והגויים גבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כה אלוהים לילה, כי כה אלוהי העמים אלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו, הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובכל חצרותיו לילה, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרום וגויים אדוני מלך, אבטיקום תבל בעלתימות, ידין העמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, העיר עם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו לילה, אז ירננו כל הצייר לפני אדוני קיבה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק ויאמין באמונתו, ילילה לילה ילילה לילה ילילה לילה ילילה לילה לילה Page 15. Psalm 97. Adonai malak togel haaretz, ישמורים רבים צונב עפר סביביו, צדק ומשפט מכון כיסאו. שמה ותשמח ציון ותגלנה בנות יהודה, למען משפטיך אדוני, כי אתה אדוני עליון על כל הארץ, מי עונה ליתו על כל אלוהים, אוהבי אדוני סינון רע, שומר נפשות חסידיו, מיד רשעים יצילם, or zarua latzadik, u'yishrei lev simcha, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kadeshom, page 17, Psalm 98. Mizmor shiru ladonai shir chadash, ki niflot asa hoshia lo yemino ozero akodsho edia Adonai Yeshuato le'en agoyim gilatzit kato zachar chasta ve'emunato levei Yisrael ra'u cholav se'aretz et Yeshuat Eloheinu horiu l'Adonai kol haaretz b'tzchum v'ranenu v'zameru zamu l'Adonai bechinar v'kol zimara b'chatzot tron v'kol shofar nariu lifnei HaMelech Adonai yiramayam u'maloho tevel v'yoshveva neharot yimchau chaf Yachad arim niranenu lifnei Adonai kiva lishbot haaretz yishbot tevel b'tzedek v'yamim b'meisharim yalai yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 Yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Page 19, Psalm 99. Adonai malak yichunamim, Yoshev keruvim tanuta aretz. Moshe v'Aaron b'chohanav u'Shmuel b'korei shemo korim el Adonai ve'hu yanem b'amud anan yidaber Elohim Alehem Shamru Edotav V'chok Natan Lamo Adonai Eloheinu Atanitam El Naseayita Lahem V'nokea Lalilotam Ramimu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtachavu Lehar Kodsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. We rise, page 21 for Psalm 29. Mizmor LeDavid. Havu Adonai b'nei Elim. Havu Adonai kevod shvaoz lai lai lai. Havu Adonai kevod shemo ishtachavu Adonai behadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai alamayim el hakavod hirim Adonai amayim rabim kol Adonai bakoach lai 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 kol Adonai behadar kol Adonai shover arazim Vaishaber Adonai et alzei alvanon vayarkidem kimo egel levanon vesiryon kemo ven emim lai 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 kol Adonai chotzev lahavot eish kol Adonai yachil midbar Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh kol Adonai cholel ayalot vayechesof Ya'arod Uvehechalo Kulo Omer Kavod Lai 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 Adonai Lamabul Yashava Yeshev Adonai Melech Leolam Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitin Adonai Yavarech Adamu Vashalom Yai Lai 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 Yai Lai 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 Yai Lai 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 Yai Lai Lai Lai. You may be seated. Top of page 22. Anna Bechoach Bechoach Gedulat Yemincha Yemincha Tati Tzirua Kaberinatamcha Sagvenu Darenu Nora Anna Bechoach Gedulat Yemincha Tati Tzirua Kaberinat Rinatamecha Sagvenu Tarenu Nora Ya lai la lai la lai Ya lai la lai la lai Ya lai la lai la lai Ya lai la lai. Page 23. Lechadodi. Lechadodi lekrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Shamor V'Zachor B'dibur Echad Hishmianu Elam Yuchad Adonai Echad Ushamo Echad L'Shemo Tiferet V'li Tila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kalam P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu V'nelcha Ki Mikor HaBiracha Merosh Mikedem Nesucha Sov Maaseh B'machshvat Chila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Mikdash Melech Ir Melucha Kumitzi Mitocha Hafecha Rav Lach Shevet B'yemek Havacha V'hu Yachamohu Alaychem La Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Itnarim Me'afar Kumi Livshevik De Tifartecha Mi Ayad Ben Yishai Beit Alachmi Karva El Nafshi Giyala Lecha Dodi Likrat Kalam P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Hitoreri Kiva Ore Kumi Ore Shir Daberi Kivod Adonai Alayich Nigla Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Lo Tevoshi V'lo Tikami Ma Tishtochachi Uma Tehemni Bach Yechasu Ani Ayami V'nivnata Ir Al Tilah Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela V'hayulim Shisa Shahawasayich V'rachakuko Mivalayich Yasis Alayich Elohayich Kim Chazchatan Al Kala Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Yamin Usmo Tifrotzi V'yeta Adonai Tariti Ayadish Ben Parti V'nismecha V'nagila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela. We rise, we face towards the west, we face towards the entrance to greet the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha v'tzala tochem munei am segula boi chala lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabila. You may be seated. Page 27. Psalm 92. Mizmor Shiliom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot L'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon tov l'hodot l'Adonai tov l'hodot l'Adonai tov l'hodot l'Adonai ulezamer L'shimcha elyon tov lehodot l'Adonai lehagid baboker chastecha lehagid baboker chastecha vemunatcha baleilot tov lehodot L'Adonai lehagid baboker chastecha lehagid baboker chastecha vemunatcha baleilot tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tzadik atamar yifrach ki erez valvanon yiske shetolim bevet Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu Od yenuvun beseva deshenim verhananim yeyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatabum. Page 29, Psalm 93. Adonai Malakai Lavesh Adonai Odizatar. Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim Imishpereyam Adibamarom Adonai Adibamarom Adonai Edotecha Nehemnu Miod Lebeitchem Nava Kodesh Adonai Laorech Yamim. Shabbat Shalom once again. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us, our family, for this Kabbalat Shabbat. I felt like I needed some music for Shabbat tonight, so I prayed in the style that all of the Camp Ramahs nationwide use these particular tunes that were popularized actually in Israel. I know it from Shira Chadashah in Jerusalem, when I lived there, I used to go to Shira Chadashah every Friday night, and this is exactly the music that they sing. If you can imagine a room, 400 people, some standing on chairs, singing this music, and every Friday night at every Ramah, having 500-600 kids all joining in this music is a sight to behold. And every once in a while, this music always moves me. And sometimes even I need that uplift. You get up one day, you get dressed, you eat breakfast. You do all the other normal activities that are part of your morning ritual. Then you head outside on your usual route. Then wait. Something is different. You didn't notice it before. What is it? What does it mean? This is what happened to Moses in this week's Parsha Shemot as we begin the book of Exodus. He tends his sheep as he does every day, walking through the wilderness where he lives. He has perhaps walked this route dozens of times, yet on one particular day he looks, sees, notices actually, a startling phenomenon. A bush that is burning but is not consumed by the fire. How long has this bush been burning? Is this fire new, or has it been burning for days or weeks? Has Moses frequently passed by it before and not seen it or noticed it? Once Moses does acknowledge this unusual spectacle, the text tells us that Moses said or thought to himself, I will now turn aside and see this great sight. What does he mean when he says he will turn aside to see the sight? If he sees the sight, is he not already facing it? Jewish tradition offers a few answers to this question. The Midrash Me'am Loez, which is a Sephardic interpretation of the Torah, originally written in Ladino, says maybe this means that Moses needed to accustom himself to seeing the intensity, like accustoming one's eyes to the sun after being in a darkened room. He might have needed to muster courage to look at the bush. A sight like this was not part of his previous experience. His worldview had been shaken. He needed to gather his inner strength to continue to look at the troubling vision. The medieval commentator Al-Sheikh believes that turning aside refers to Moses' turning his attention or moving his focus. Moses sees the mundane, the physical, but understands that he must look deeper to begin to understand and investigate the spiritual, the mystical. My teacher at the University of Judaism, Rabbi Mimi Weisel, says that the burning bush is where Moses has his first direct encounter with God. He notices the bush, sees its unusual characteristics, then in deepening awareness, begins his life-altering journey. So it is for us whenever we face a life life-changing and frightening event like illness, loss, or suffering. We wake up one day and find that our life has shifted. There is a new reality. Think of the pandemic being this new reality. How do we get through the challenges and emotions of our new reality? How do we adapt to knowing and living with something that is unexpected? Like Moses gradually adjusting his vision and intellect to adapt to the experience of this burning bush, we need to adapt to this new intensity in our lives and see with new eyes. Slowly, deliberately, we can let the light in and begin to find healing and hope. One may hope for something as large as a cure or a vaccine. Or one may hope to experience a blessing today. Maybe it is the blessing of seeing something familiar in a new way, noticing the radiant color of a tulip that is beginning to blossom from the depths of moist soil, or the friendly smile of a stranger. We put a new meaning on what we see. The flower is more than a plant. It is a vision of beauty. The smile is the message of a greeting from another, created in the image of God. These are blessings we have the gift of experiencing. We need to turn aside to notice the blessing while experiencing what is vastly troubling. All this takes awareness, determination, and focus. Like Moses, we notice that something is not the way it should be. He investigates to see what it is. We try to analyze what loss and suffering means. Then we let it settle into our being, slowly adapting to the newness. And so can we, after seeing the burning bush, the sign that presages a dramatic change in his life, Moses moves forward into the new contours of his life as a prophet, as God's messenger. He does not take on his new reality easily. He has tremendous misgivings and fears. He loudly protests to God numerous times, but ultimately he makes the shift and moves forward into his new truth. With God's support, he will live out his future. If what we find today is not what we expected, if it is challenging in startling ways, we are like Moses, who saw a strange and frightening sight. We too can be like Moses by turning aside to see in deeper ways, finding the divine in the moment. As we take the time to accustom ourselves to the intensity, we find the capacity to approach with a new attitude. We seek meaning and appropriate hope. We come to know that we have the ability to find support on our journey through the internal resources of our souls, the collective support of friends, family, acquaintances, community, and possibly even strangers, And as God sees us turning aside to look deeper, we may glimpse God along with us on the journey of healing. We are all in a new reality. And what have we done to meet that challenge? We have all found new ways to experience the B'Tselem Elohim, the image of God in each of us. Even if we have to do it virtually, we have learned over this pandemic that this is our new reality. We may come to know again what it's like to be in each other's presence, but for now, this reality must be good enough. And you know what? It feels to me like this is normal. I don't know what it's going to be like when we are able to daven once again with each other. But we will make it through. All of us will make it through. We just have to protect those in our frame from harm. We have to protect each other. All Jews, all people are responsible for each other. We have to protect each other. We have to survive this pandemic. So I'm glad you're joining me this evening. Even if it's virtually, you know what? It's okay. I've gotten used to it. You've gotten used to it. We must have at least 30 people joining us this evening. I feel very comfortable with that. I feel extremely comfortable with that. But again, we will get over this. Tomorrow morning, just so I'll make this mention of this at the end of tonight's services, Toria Stark and Carl Sayers will be joining me physically on this very bima to bring you Shabbat morning services tomorrow morning. You may come and behold the absolute wonderful music that Carl and Toria will share with us live in our sanctuary, or you can stay where you are in the comfort and safety of your home or the home of loved ones, and also share in the incredible music that we will hear tomorrow morning. I will ascend, and that begins at 9:30. You are welcome to join us in our sanctuary, or you're welcome to stay at home. What I also will make mention of, we have talked about this retreat at Ramah Darom that Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem will be participating in on February 4th through 6th. That's a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. A Shabbaton that we will share with the Jewish communities of Chattanooga and Greensboro, North Carolina. Carl and Toria will be with us that weekend as well. And we'll be able to hear them lead us in prayer and in Havdalah. It'll be a phenomenal weekend. And if you're curious or afraid because of COVID, Ramah has taken extreme measures to make sure that everyone will be safe. You can go on the website ramahdarom.com/shmooze, It's in the December bulletin, which is on our website, so you can get the address there. There's it's $175 for the weekend, and because of the generosity of Gerald Leibovitz and the Leibovitz Scholarship Fund, half of it will be subsidized. So it's $85 a person. And you can sign up and register online. I will let you know you will need to do a COVID test before you go. You must show your vaccine card in order to be admitted to Ramah. They will test each of us upon arriving at Ramah. So this will be an absolutely safe retreat for all of us. And I hope you plan on joining us. I will be going, Irene's going, Gerald's going, Carl and Tori are going, and I know at least 11 other people from our synagogues have already signed up. I was told that 45 people have already signed up, including the board of Ramah and their families. Please consider joining us. It's going to be phenomenal. Shabbat Shalom. And I've talked way too much. I am going to do a very quick ma'ariv. Please join me, page 39a. Please rise for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Vo'ed. Please be seated. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'roch. U'mahavir yom u'mevi laila, mavdil ben yom u'vein laila Adonai tzavahot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu l'olam vo'ed. Baruch et Adonai hamariv aravim. Page 40. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amchavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadta al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachvenu v'kumenu nesiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha Uv'mitzvotecha le'olam vo'ed ki em chayenu v'orech yameinu uva'em menege yomam v'layla v'yavatecha tasim mimenu la'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavecha. Hayom al levavecha v'shinanatam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech v'shachpecha v'kumecha ukshartam niot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beninecha uchtabdam mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha v'ya'im shemot tishmeu. Vayomer Adonai Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta lehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdehem ledoratam v'natnu al tzitzit hakana patil techelet v'haya lachem letzitzit Oritem hoto, uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem hotam, v'lo tatu racharei levavachem v'acharei nechem, asher tem zonim achareihem. Leman dizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kadoshim leloechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeiti etachem le'eretz Mitzrayim leot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem. Emet. Page 43a. Ve'emunah kozov l'kayam. Page 44. Umachut tabratzun kibalehem Moshe uveneschlach neshira besimcha rabba v'yamachu cholam mi chamocha boilim Adonai mi kamocha nedor bakodesh nora tehilot o seifele malchutacha uvenecha bokeyam lifnei Moshe Zeli anu v'yameru Adonai yimloch le'olam voed v'nehemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov u'golod miyad chazak mimenu baruch et Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 45. Hashkivenu Adonai Elohim l'shalom. Ushmatzetenu vein l'chaim ushlametav yadalam ufosel nishkat shlemecha baruch Adonai haporetz l'kat shalom aleinu v'yal kol amo Yisrael v'yal Yerushalayim. We rise, page 46. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat La'asot et Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat La'asot et Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. V'yom hashvi Shabbat v'yinafash Shabbat v'yinafash Shabbat v'yinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. We rise for the silent Amidah, pages 47 through 52. We rise as the ark is open for Aleinu, page 56. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol l'teit gedula liyotzeh bereshit shalo asanu kagoyei aratzot velo samanu kamishmachot adama shalo sam chelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Gagadu b'toratech Adonai imloch lilam voed v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom mahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated. This week we will observe yard sites for Ezra Axelrod, Rosa Bitan, Albert David Capilouto, Eli Cohen, Isaac Sal Kreisman, Thelma Mendel, Belle Kermish, Eric Nur, Sidney Besser, Bertha Margolis, Ronnie Rosen, Sidney Rosen, M. Hyman Schwartz, Felice Cohen, Mallory Golson, Sigmund Lang, Sarah Cohn, Buddy Kallick, Ray Schwartz Mirsky, Meyer Oberstein, Pauline Oberstein, and Jack Silverman. We received these remembrances for yard sites that we are remembering this coming week. The first one comes from Emily Rosen, who is remembering very deeply, as we all are, Ronnie Rosen. As I reflect upon my life with my beloved husband, Ronnie Rosen, I have confirmed how blessed I was to have him. Both of us shared a beautiful life together as husband and wife. Our time was short, but the quality of those years was immeasurable. Ronnie was a wonderful husband, devoted father, loving brother, and loyal friend. He was a successful businessman who truly loved jewelry management. He loved his children and was always a positive influence in their lives, encouraging and supporting them through all their challenges and successes. Ronnie was a very generous, kind, and positive person. Despite all his sufferings, he always had a smile on his face, and his jovial personality put a smile on your face. His outlandish stories and jokes were the highlight of all of our gatherings. He was a good person with so many outstanding qualities. I miss him so much, but will always cling to the good memories of our life together. I love you, Ronnie. Rest in peace. Thank you, Emily. And this comes from Ronnie's children. Our father, Ronnie Rosen, was the best dad any kid could have ever asked for. Having him as our dad was truly an honor. Our dad never missed an opportunity to tell us how proud of us he was. Whenever we needed him, he was always there. He treated family and friends and even strangers with so much compassion. He knew exactly how to uplift those around him with his humor. We miss his daily text reminders telling us what the weather is or reminding us to eat lunch, or again, just reminding us how he is a proud father. Our dad positively impacted our lives through his love and kindness. He shaped us to the people we are today. We will forever be grateful for that. We will continue to live each day in his honor. He was truly one of a kind. We miss and love him every day with so much hope, with so much love, hope, and grant. And this came from Linda Smith, who's observing a yard site for her father, Sidney Rosen. Our father was larger than life, figuratively and literally, a mentor to us. His business and moral ethics led all of us throughout our adult years. We grew up knowing there were 10 commandments. However, we only heard one every single day. Honor thy mother and father. Daddy took such good care of his parents and helped so many people. We would learn after he passed away that he made such a big difference in so many lives. This trait continued on through all of his children. His mitzvot radar was always on, even though mostly anonymously. We were truly blessed to have had the upbringing we had with such a strong father figure. This comes from Linda Rosen and Howard Rosen. And the following came from Werner Knorr for his father. My father, Eric Knorr, arrived in Montgomery together with his family in 1939 at the age of 39, having escaped Germany 2 weeks before Kristallnacht. Dad owned a large department store in Ulrich, and the family lived a very comfortable life. However, he had apprenticed as a podiatrist before leaving Germany because he did not speak English, had no other skills other than that of a merchant, and had only $25 per adult allowed by the Nazis to leave the country. Federation offered him money, which he declined, exclaiming, "Just find me a job." Dad could not make a living as a podiatrist, charging only $2 a visit, even though he had the only electrical equipment in town. He ultimately went to work at Jake Aronoff's junkyard, doing the midnight shift for $13 a week, $2 going to the Swiss embassy in Havana, Cuba, to be sent to Germany in an effort to get his father, Lippmann Knorr, out. He had refused to leave with us, saying, "They won't bother an old man like me." By the time he wanted to leave, it was too late. When we got word from the Red Cross of his death, it was 2 years after the fact. It was the first time I saw my father cry. We lived on Monroe Street, opposite the Capitol, in a duplex owned by the Ruttenbergs. Papa tried to join the army in 1940, but was too old and had a child. However, he did his part for his adopted country. In anticipation of D-Day, the FBI contacted him regarding the topography of the lowlands in North Germany, which was being considered as a possible invasion site. He also contributed clothing with German labels for spies being parachuted behind enemy lines. He became a block warden in the case of an air raid, complete with steel helmet and fire extinguisher. He and my mother, Melanie, became proud U.S. citizens in 1944. My mother spoke perfect English, if accented, but my father spoke a fractured English punctuated by profanities. Dad worked for Solomon Brothers Wholesale Dry Goods on Commerce Street for 4 years, before going into business with Leo Glick. The store on the corner of Oaks and West, Jeff Davis, was known as Glick and Ner General Merchandise. Glick means luck in Yiddish. He was in business for 14 years. He was the only grocer that I know of that wasn't robbed at gunpoint during the day. His customers loved and respected him. Every year, he bought the Maftir and Haftarah, which was auctioned during the High Holy Day service. Our home was glot kosher. In their darkest days, they planned for my bar mitzvah, college, and chuppah. My parents had a second child, Evelyn, 7 years younger than I, having vowed not to have another child under the Nazi regime. Life was always difficult. The store was open 12 hours a day, 14 on Shabbat, on Saturday, and 6 on Sunday. We were open every day except the High Holy Days. Papa never complained. At age 50, he had his first myocardial infarction. His work ethic never changed. We kept him alive to age 63. His motto was Rein, Fein, und Klein. His Hebrew name was Eliyahu ben Chaver Lipman Zion, an honorary title bestowed upon his father by his congregation in Orich. Dad was a hero and my inspiration. He loved his country, God, America, and the synagogue. When he died, the sunshine was never quite the same again. Loving son, Werner Knorr. I so appreciate those remembrances. Those observing Yahrzeit and those who mourn, please rise. Page 58, join me for the Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, b'yoma divrach yurtei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agalav izman kariv v'maru amen, yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudishah barichu, le'la min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yoma v'yimaru amen, yehi shlama Rabbah min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. May be seated. Sorry, services went a little bit longer this evening. But I think they were punctuated by those stories, and I just really appreciate all of those stories that people shared with us. Thank you so much. Services will continue tomorrow morning, 9:30. Carl Sayers and Tori Stark will be joining me, co-leading services. Please come to our sanctuary and hear this beautiful cantorial music that they will share with us, or you may stay in your home and join us online. Either way is fine. Tomorrow evening, Havdalah will be at 7 p.m. Carl and Toria will be joining Rabbi Steve Cantor Neal, Chazan Charles, and Yehuda Silverworth, as well as I, for Havdalah via Zoom tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. With that, we will go ahead and conclude tonight's service with Yigdal, page 62. Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtabach nimsa v'yenet el mitziuto echad v'yen yachid k'yichudo nelam v'gam ein sof le'achduto ein lo demut haguf v'yeino guf lo naroch elav kedushato kadmon lechol davar asher nivra rishon v'yein reshit lereshito Hino Adon Olam V'chono Tzar Yoreh Gedulato U'malchuto Shefa Nevuato Netanano El Anshe Segulato V'tifarto Lo Kam B'Yisrael K'Moshe Od Navi Umabit Et Emunato Torah Temet Natan Le'amoel Ayad Nevio Neman Beito Lo Yachalifo El Velo Yamir Dato Leolamim Lezulato Sofe Viodea Sitarenu Mabit Lesof Davar Bikad Mato Gomel Ish Chesed Kemifalo Noten Rashara Kirishato Yishlach L'Ket Shamin Meshichenu Livtot Mechakeketz Yeshuato Meitim Michael Berov Chasto Baruch Adeyad Shem Tehilato Meitim Michael Berov Chasto Baruch Adeyad Shem Dehilato. Shabbat Shalom.